Yo, what is up guys? My name's Hakiii and today we have an updated top 10 list of the best ways to make money in GTA Online. Starting with the newly added series of missions, that's an absolute W. The Cluckin farm raid is probably as worth it as it gets when you think of the amount of money for the amount of time you're spending playing it. It's very worth it. It's $500,000 in basically 40 to 45 minutes if you're pretty efficient. There are 5 short setups that you need to complete. The nice thing is you can complete everything solo if you wanted to, although having a friend could make it a little bit easier and a little quicker. I personally love the fact we're continuing in the trend of heists being playable solo. Ever since we got the Cayo Perico heist, Rockstar has been continuing in that trend, because before that it was required to have a minimum of 2 players to play pretty much any big heist that came out. 5 short setup missions and then the heist finale. It's not officially a heist, but I do like to call it a heist because it's basically that style. The setups should take about 30 minutes to complete roughly, and then for the heist finale, it's a pretty short one. It should only take about 10 to 15 minutes, so that's how you make $500,000, literally $500,000 every 45 minutes, not counting the cooldown for it though. Every now and then there's a certain method to actually bypass the cooldown, so technically it could be every 45 minutes roughly. And not only did we not count the cooldown, but we actually didn't count the first time bonus, and the first time bonuses in GTA are getting crazy in recent years. We had the first dose and the last dose missions, which we got $100,000 for each mission with that. Now if you do the Cluckin farm raid as a host for the very first time, you get an extra $250,000, and then I actually got an extra $100,000 for something as well. I don't exactly know what, but let's just say $350K on top of the $500,000 we already made from the heist, or only the heist finale I should say. And there's no setup cost either. Usually with heists you have to spend a certain amount of money to actually start the setups in the first place, like the Cayo Perico heist and the facility heist and the original heist. There's usually a setup cost, so you actually have to spend money to eventually make more money. But the nice thing is this is completely free and anybody could do it as long as you go to the V icon on the map. And one more big difference with this heist compared to the rest, there's actually no split. Each person gets a set amount, so the host gets $500,000 flat, and then every player that joined gets a $50,000 payout from that heist finale. It's kind of nice because you don't have to decide with your friends for like an hour who gets what cut. Like this person gets 50%, that person gets 25%, the other person gets 25%. No, it is completely flat for everybody, and it's even pretty worth it for people joining. I mean, what players could do is just continuously join people that have the Cluckin farm raid finale and just ongoingly make $50,000 every 10 to 15 minutes. Like we said, as that is the time that it takes to complete the finale. The next awesome money method you should take advantage of is the ammunition deliveries inside of the bunker. These you can do once every in-game day, meaning there's a 48-minute cooldown after you complete each one. It's a really straightforward and easy mission. You just go into your bunker, you'll see a truck with an ammunition package on the back of it parked up. You want to go up to it, press right D-pad, it's going to take us outside, and then we're going to be led to a certain drop-off. Sometimes it's going to be really close, sometimes it's not going to be that close, it's going to be a little farther, sometimes in Paleto Bay. I think the Paleto Bay location is as far as it gets. It isn't extremely far, it's not going to take you to the very bottom of the map, which is pretty far from basically every bunker. It does depend on which bunker location you have, but I have the farmhouse bunker, and I can say most of the randomized drop-off locations aren't too far away. It usually just takes like a few minutes, maybe a couple minutes at most. Simply drive to the drop-off, you might get an NPC chasing you, just blow up that vehicle, and then you're all good to go, and you get a $50,000 payment for a super easy mission. Every new day in GTA Online you can rinse and repeat this method, and yeah, it's that easy. I myself am pretty guilty of not taking enough advantage of this money method, so if you're also guilty like that, gotta change it. Next up are going to be security contracts through the agency, so you must have an agency to be able to do this money method, and the payouts from security contracts really vary on the difficulty that you choose. It's going to give you 3 random security contracts out of the big variety of missions it has, and they're going to be paying out anywhere from $35,000 all the way up to $70,000 with no bonuses, and it should take about 10 minutes to complete, sometimes a bit less, sometimes a little bit more. And the nice thing is the more contracts you complete, the more passive money you're going to be generating every in-game day through the agency's safe. So the passive income safe basically increases the more security contracts you do, and it's just a nice side income stream to have along with the active money methods you have with the agency. Speaking of other money methods with the agency, you also have Payphone Hits, which used to be really good, now they got a little bit nerfed, and it's basically a quick target assassination mission. It should only take a couple minutes, and you can do it by going outside, calling up Franklin, and requesting a payphone hit. Then you're gonna get a telephone icon on the map, go up to it, press right D-pad, do the mission, and you should get $45,000 after a couple minutes. Now, the biggest money method in the agency is the Dr. Dre contract. This is the main heist of the agency, and it consists of 3 setup missions and 2 finale missions. In total, it should take around an hour and a half to complete everything, and it pays exactly $1 million every time you complete it. I guess like with the Cluckin farm raid, it also doesn't have a split you can do with friends. In terms of the best money making property with a variety of different ways to make money, I would say the agency is at least one of the best, if not the best. Moving on to the quickest way you can possibly make a few $100,000 in GTA Online, those are going to be the time trials. There are 4 different time trials total if you're playing on current gen, and the payouts for them are absolutely awesome. You're going to be making a total of $450,000 completing all of them every single week. $250,000 payment for the HSW time trial, which is a pretty freaking easy one. As long as you have a fast vehicle, you should be able to easily complete it. It's probably the easiest one out of all 4, and it actually pays the most as well. Only available on the Xbox Series X and S and the PS5 though. Regular time trial, which is a bit more of a difficult one, that pays out $100,000. The RC Bandito time trial pays $50,000, and then finally the Junk Energy time trial pays also $50,000. That one is with the bicycle, and each of these time trials only take about a minute or 2 to complete as long as you actually complete them. So super quick money method and a very good payout. Then we have the weekly bonus jobs that can go anywhere from 2 times money in RP all the way up to 5 times money in RP depending on the actual week. Despite this one being obvious, you can still have a lot of fun with the different bonuses that Rockstar chooses to put bonus money on. The best I've ever managed to do just from one game of a certain game mode was over $250,000, and it did go on for about 20 to 30 minutes, so you can actually make these a lot of rounds, and then by playing each round long enough and eventually winning, hopefully, you can make a lot of money while having fun with friends or just randoms. Earlier, we briefly mentioned how the agency safe generates a certain amount of passive income. That one's pretty decent, but it's no match for the best passive money maker in the game, which is through the Nightclub. The secret safe inside of the Nightclub is hands down the best for passive money making. It could generate up to $50,000 every 48 minutes, which does actually become a lot since you could be doing other things, and as you play the game, you're just constantly generating money. As long as you keep your popularity up, that's the only thing you need to be worrying about. Just make sure your popularity bar is filled all the way up inside of your Nightclub. You can do that by reassigning DJs, which does cost 10k each time, but you will be making that money back and much more as long as the popularity is full, or at least close to full, and you should be making close to $50,000, if not 50k, every 48 minutes, which is one in-game day. All you really need to do for it is just 1 or 2 setup missions to set up the casino, or not the casino, the Nightclub in the first place, and that gets your Nightclub fully up and running, including the passive money generating too. Next money making method is the Cayo Perico heist with the Cayo Perico Island. Beautiful place that unfortunately we cannot access in free mode. Now, Rockstar actually nerfed the payout of the Cayo Perico heist not once but twice, and despite this, it still pays a lot, but not nearly as good as it once used to. After completing a couple of scope out missions around the island and getting set up for the finale, after completing the finale, you can make anywhere from $800,000 to $1.6 million as the host of the job. Of course, you do need to be owning a Kosaka submarine to be able to start it up. If you don't have one, honestly, another good money method is just joining the Cayo Perico heist. There are constantly people playing it, and if you try to join one through the phone or just look in the community tab of your console, many players are searching for others to help them, and you do get a minimum cut of 15%. So as the person joining someone else that has the heist finale, you would probably be making around a few $100,000 to a couple $100,000, unless the host really likes you and for whatever reason gives you a very high percentage. And like we said with the Cluckin farm raid, it's up to you whether you want to play it all solo or bring in some friends. Then we have the Acid Lab, which takes a little bit of setting up, but once you get it set up, it is actually worth it. The Acid Lab inside of the Freak Shop can be unlocked by completing the 6 first dose missions. They don't really pay all that well, only like a few $10,000. Unless you haven't done them before, then you get $100,000 every single mission you complete for the very first time, as we mentioned earlier. In that case, it is very worth it, and you should definitely complete the first dose, and then after the last dose missions. After those 6 first dose missions, you can go and buy the Acid Lab for $750,000, but in the the long run, you're definitely going to be making that money back. It is a bit of a hefty price for setting up that business, but essentially you can buy or steal supplies and then over time you can go and sell them for more money. Basically what you can do with it is buy supplies for $60,000 and then after a few hours you can finally go and sell those supplies. Now the payouts do change depending on what type of session you're in. So if you're selling in an invite only session, it's going to sell for around $350,000, but if you're a little more gutsy and want to sell in a public session, it's going to sell for over $500,000. So there is actually a bonus for selling in a public session because it's technically more risky. Those are some solid payout amounts considering you just needed to buy supplies, or if you wanted to steal some, you didn't even need to spend any money on that. Waiting a few hours and then you are all set to sell the product and make a very nice profit from this. If you found this video helpful, drop a like on it and subscribe if you are new. Help us get to 200,000 subscribers. That would be absolutely amazing. Now click the video on screen now for the most fun things you can do while bored in GTA Online. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.